right, welcome in everybody to War Eagle TV. Doug Holton here, and former Auburn Tiger Brian Brinsfield. We wanted to just jump in real quick on a Saturday night, and you may be watching on Sunday as well. But very interesting situation, a sad situation in Denver this afternoon, Brian, in the Broncos Bills game. The Broncos actually won the game in overtime, but after the game, we learned that Bo Nix, former Auburn Tiger quarterback, broke his ankle in a play leading up to the victory. And interestingly enough, their backup is Jared Stidham, also a former Auburn Tiger quarterback. So I know that's a terrible blow for Bo Nix after winning that ball game, maybe heading to the Super Bowl this year. I know you're very close to the Nix family and roomed with Patrick in college, and just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Probably the story of the day in the National Football League.
Yeah, well, and I will say this: I roomed with him on the road, but I don't want to say something I didn't do. But Patrick, yeah, but Patrick and Krista have been great friends of mine for. We were in the same recruiting class, so I've known both of them since before they started dating, and it is sad. It was incredible to watch Bo's composure, and they've done this. The Broncos have done this all year. They've come back all year long,
Yeah,
and with 50 something seconds to go, he throws that ball um, over the shoulder. I think to Sutton maybe in the corner of the end zone, and just throws a beautiful ball and to Cortland, I think, and then they have the overtime and they get a pick and turnover and then drive down and it's just a simple little I think he was just scrambling to the left
yeah, little quarterback
and
run. Yeah,
quarterback run and got tripped up and broke a bone in his ankle. So which he's done before. He broke it at Auburn and had
yeah,
surgery.
yeah.
But then you got Jared, and I just heard that Jared hadn't thrown a pass in the NFL since 23.
That's what I read.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
but it'll be interesting to see. I was really hoping, I mean, selfishly for Bo and for Patrick and the Knicks family that because I think they have the team to do it to go to the Super Bowl. It would have been incredibly fun to watch that happen and play out. It's going to be an uphill battle now.
Yeah, they made such a good combination, I thought. Bo
Sean,
and Sean Payton
yeah,
together offensively.
yeah.
Obviously, Bo's very talented and two great offensive minds, and obviously Patrick played quarterback as well. So that was just set up to be a success from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, and we've watched this for 2 years now, and Sean Payton has said that that's the guy who he wanted, and Bo was kind of picked to maybe go in the late first round or the second round, and Sean Payton wasn't going to let him do that because he was so impressed with him in the meetings and during his interviews and during his workouts and things like that. So he picked him in the top 10, I think, or top 12 or something like that, but in the first round. And it's been fun to watch them kind of uh, work out their offense.
Yeah,
And they had some growing pains last year, and they've still had some growing pains this year. But for the most part, they've worked it out, and they've got a good system going. And then they have the defense. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL, actually the second best defense in the NFL behind Seattle. Um, so they had, I think, the team to do it, or one of the teams to do it, and it's incredibly unfortunate. It'll be interesting to one of my good friends, Joe Lukey, lives out in Colorado. I used to work with him, and Jared Stidham's his neighbor. So he said, "I guess my neighbor's got to take us to the Super Bowl," and I hope he does. I hope he
yeah,
does.
yeah. That's what I was going to bring up next. Of course, is can you put yourself in Jared's shoes right now? And after the injury to Bo, obviously you got to be ready anytime something like that happens. But in the playoffs, they're getting ready to go to the Final Four here, and can he take them to the championship, or is that totally out of the question? You think?
It's not out of the question, but it's definitely next man up. But listen, backup quarterbacks in the NFL just don't get a lot of reps,
Yeah,
and they may get 10 reps of practice, and that's it. And you're talking about the second team quarterback, the third string quarterback. If he gets any, it's a good day for him.
yeah, yeah,
So I just you have to throw in all the things. The chemistry with the receivers. He doesn't have much. The receivers know where Bo's going to put the ball in certain situations on certain routes. They don't have that chemistry with Jared, the offensive line. They know how what when something happens and they come up to the line of scrimmage and something's off, they know how Bo's going to react and switch to protection
yeah.
or what he's going to switch the play to. And again, this is a bad time for this to happen offensively, for Denver.
It's so hard watching that game today. So hard, and watching the games the last couple of weeks. Very difficult to get a completion in the NFL now. And obviously, the Broncos were going for the pass interference there on the last couple of plays, which I thought the calls on those two plays at least were terrible in my opinion. But anyway, the Broncos move on, but without Bo Nix, and we'll be talking more about that as the days go on. Brian Brinsfield, former Auburn Tiger, is in with us for a few minutes tonight, Saturday night. And Brian, the other big story this evening is basketball. The Auburn Tigers and Stephen Pearl almost in a must-win situation at home against South Carolina. It wasn't a pretty game. We've been talking about Jovic a little bit. Philip Jovic, he
Yeah.
was the man of the hour today, 23 points a career high, and some other impressive stats. And the
Yeah.
Tigers get it done, and they really needed to get it done because, as we talked on the show last week, they have Ole Miss, Florida, Texas, Tennessee coming up in the next few games.
Yeah, it's going to be. This was an incredibly important one. I think the rest of them. I mean, all besides Florida. I mean, Florida is going to be really really tough to win.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to win it. We're going to have to win those three out of the four that you just mentioned. And it's really not a can we or should we win them, or if we win them, we really got to win them to stay in the hunt for. And we've got to have some luck on the other side of the coin too. Tennessee took a loss to Kentucky today, and they shouldn't have. Kentucky was they were down big at the half, and there was one point where I was watching they didn't hit a field goal in 7 minutes of clock time.
Yeah.
So there's going to have to be a lot of things that happen for us, but we're also going to have to make our own luck.
Yeah. I mentioned, I was talking to somebody earlier in the week about Philip Jovic
Yeah,
and reading Stephen Pearl's comment about him that he was doing everything right. He's a great guy. He does everything we ask him to do. We just have to get him some more minutes. And I was thinking, well, how hard is that to get him more minutes if he's playing great? But
yeah.
anyway, big win for the Tigers today. Let's listen in to Coach Stephen Pearl a little bit after the game today. Here's what he had to say.
Philip Jovic was phenomenal. I think that was like one of the first games that we haven't been doubled in the post this year. So Philip listens. So we were like, Philip, go score the basketball this game. Stop looking to pass so much. He said, okay, coach. And that's what he did. He was great. And he's really physical in there. He's really bouncy, and he does a great job of just using his body to score on angles. And, he was the difference in the game tonight. So our two freshman bigs, Philip and Sebastian, were incredible and did a great job. And really, really impressed with Tahad tonight. 5 assists, 1 turnover. He probably should have had 12 assists because he did such a great job of getting the ball out and getting to his open teammates. Obviously didn't have the shooting night that he wanted after making one early. But, only 1 turnover, which was late. Did a pretty good job defensively, kind of sitting down and guarding his man. So did a great job of bouncing back from a tough game on Tuesday. So really proud of Tahad.
All right, there you have it. Stephen Pearl after the big win over South Carolina Saturday. And Brian, any final thoughts after Coach Pearl? I know, as we said, it's a busy and tough road ahead. And the Tigers, gosh, it was an ugly game, especially in the first half today. But they got it done. And anything stick out to you on the stat sheet?
No, just when we can talk about it, but I'd like to find out, like you said, a little more about it. But Keyshawn only played 14 minutes, so let's find out a little bit why, and then, but we've got to have more production than 17 points out of Hall and Pettiford, like we talked about last week on the show, and then Freeman had played 22 minutes and no points. So production. I think is going to be key from here on out.
What it usually comes down to, right?
Yeah, I think the balls that go into the basket help.
They help you. Yeah.
They help you.
Yeah.
And not getting hurt like I'm watching behind you with the 49ers. Just heard where Christian McCaffrey is probably done for the game and
with a shoulder.
I
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so is the tight end that came in for Kittle.
Yeah. I remember a guy named Coach Williams who said basketball is a lot easier when the ball goes in the basket.
It is a lot easier that way. Yeah.
All right, Brian, appreciate you being with us, and we'll talk more with you about basketball and about the Knicks situation in the coming days. War Eagle.
War Eagle. Thanks, Doug.